So over the past few decades, we've increasingly found ways to benefit from connected digital technologies, and that's wonderful. But at the same time, of course, it makes us much more vulnerable to a wide range of cyber attacks. What kinds of cyber attacks? Well, there's many different ones we now face, and there's going to be new ones over the coming years, surely. How are these attacks enabled? Well, they're enabled by exploiting a wide range of possible vulnerabilities. And some of these vulnerabilities, and therefore their attacks, they're relatively routine to detect and remediate. Others are much less common, but they're more systemic, more impactful, and harder to remediate. So we do have to worry about the systemic threats, even though we don't see them as often. When they happen, they could be potentially unrecoverable attacks. In fact, the USA cybersecurity strategy explicitly calls out the need to pay attention to systemic technical threats. And of course, cryptanalysis enabled by a quantum computer is one such threat. But it's important to also remember that this quantum threat is just one concrete example at the end of the day of a more general threat, and that's of mathematical or computational attacks on a computationally secure cryptography algorithm. So I consider the quantum threat a blessing in disguise, because the threat is real enough to stimulate the development of more resilient cryptographic infrastructure, but not immediate enough to cause widespread harm. So now let's benefit from this opportunity to build a cryptographic infrastructure fit for the 21st century, where our dependency on digital technologies is tremendous already and increasing. When should you start this transition? And what should you prioritize? Well, that depends on a number of parameters, including the shelf life of the data, the migration time, and your expected time for threat actors to get access to cryptographically relevant quantum computers. It also depends on your risk tolerance, whether you're willing to accept a 5% risk, say of it happening in 5 years, or a 20-25% chance of this happening in 10 years. So there's a number of moving parts here, and the quantum risk assessment is where you would start, sort of prioritize what you should address. What are the mitigations for dealing with this risk that our key agreement algorithms or key establishment algorithms could be broken? Again, it depends on the risk tolerance, right? For certain national security systems, right, there's clear guidance: do not rely, at least not exclusively, on asymmetric key agreement. That risk, while it may be small, is just not acceptable for some really important digital platforms and information, right? Whereas for other systems, regular, very convenient and elegant asymmetric cryptography is good enough, is considered good enough, at least for many applications and platforms. And what about everything in between, though, where some heavily guarded manual transport of a pre-shared key becomes impractical or prohibitively expensive, right? And as Carl alluded to in his opening remarks, important protocols like TLS and IPsec, they actually allow for the injection of pre-shared keys, additional randomness, in addition to the asymmetric key establishment. Right? So if we can find more practical ways to establish keys that don't rely on asymmetric key agreement, then there's already a natural, elegant way to fold them into very important, widely deployed existing protocols. Now, in theory, QKD is the best solution to key establishment because it doesn't require computational assumption. As long as the physical security and authenticity assumptions hold at the time of key establishment, the resulting key can't be cryptanalyzed later, can't be mathematically or computationally attacked later. But for this to really be helpful in practice, to make our digital systems and the world safer in practice, we have to be able to deploy it very widely and in very practical ways. And of course, we're delighted to see robust commercial grade deployments of QKD, including by our friends on this event, at this event. We've all been working together, supporting a strong ecosystem, including the development of standards to support interoperability, and really to make the proposition of QKD, of using QKD, more attractive for the end users. Our part at EvolutionQ, and we're based in North America as well as Europe, has been in enabling the reliable, scalable, and interoperable global deployment of QKD, right? And we do that by focusing on the network layer software and key delivery part through a framework we call a quantum delivery network. Now, the objective of a QDN is for a network of QKD links through trusted nodes to enable key establishment key establishment between any two locations in the QKD network by performing a series of a small number of information theoretically secure key swaps. We also engage with end users to assess their risk and help them determine where this extra layer of assurance QKD provides is worthwhile, where it would add the most value, and also to engage in designing QKD networks in a practical way into their solutions. Again, the vision is an interoperable suite of different vendors, free space, fiber. There's lots of reasons why customers would want the option of several vendors. And again, as an ecosystem, we can assure the end customer that this flexibility and interoperability is possible and can be managed easily, and the likelihood of wide adoption will be higher. So what do we do alongside our services that help with this journey? Well, which journey? Well, you could go to the Sifter webpage, and it can walk you through the steps from preparation, testing, analysis, to ultimately migration to quantum safe cryptography. So in addition to those services, we have our flagship quantum delivery network product called BaseJump. We also have a BaseJump Sim product that allows users to cost-effectively simulate large QKD network configurations before deciding on and deploying a QKD network. And BaseJump Last Mile's a very secure method for extending the reach of QKD networks to the last mile part where there isn't a quantum connection. So please feel free to reach out to us if you'd like to learn more about managing the quantum threat, how to design and deploy a scalable and interoperable QKD network, whether it's as a partner or a customer or any other meaningful way. Look forward to talking to you.